Hey guys, welcome back. Hope you're all well today. So today I'm going to be doing a review of Terminator Genisys, fifth film in the franchise, third unofficial sequel after the Jim Cameron double. And I saw it a few hours earlier, so I wanted to give you my thoughts on this film. Now, this has been universally panned by a lot of critics and online media creators on YouTube. So I didn't have high hopes for this film. Prior to seeing the reviews, I did have high hopes because the trailers looked epic. I was really impressed with the trailers. And I went into this film with mixed emotions, initially wanting to love the film, then being very disappointed with the reviews and thinking, oh God, this is not going to be my kind of Terminator, and I'm going to be very disappointed as a massive Terminator fan. You know, I love Terminator. Terminator 2 is one of my favourite films of all time, one of the best sci-fi movies ever made, and still the best Terminator film. Terminator 3 Rise of the Machines doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. That film was never made. Terminator Salvation is a film that a lot of people don't like, and a lot of people who criticise Terminator Genisys don't like Salvation, which gave me a little bit of hope because I absolutely love Salvation. I came out of that film when it initially was released with a big grin on my face. I was just energetic, full on talking, saying to my dad, this film's amazing, I can't believe how well they did, how they got it right after number 3. They got a great storyline in the future, you've got Christian Bale. I was really, really impressed with Salvation, and then I've continued to watch it on Blu-ray several times, and it's brilliant. Fantastic movie. So that gave me the hope that maybe, as I love Salvation, a lot of people who don't like Genisys don't like Salvation, I might like Genisys. And I'm always open-minded because it is an action film and you can't look for a deep story and characterisation in a film like that. So I went in, a bit of mixed emotions as I say, didn't really know what to expect. Now, the casting for this film, the casting when it was announced was something that I was like, no, that's not going to work. Arnold Schwarzenegger is obvious, but you've got Jason Clarke, you've got Jai Courtney, you've got Emilia Clarke. I was like, this is not a good cast. I didn't know Emilia Clarke at that time. I don't watch Game of Thrones, so I don't have any history of her acting, so I don't know what to expect. Jason Clarke plays John Connor. I was aware of from a TV show called Chicago Code a few years ago, which I absolutely love, brilliant show. And he was one of the standout actors in the show for me. However, when he transitioned to film and I saw him in Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, he was one of the weakest parts of the film for me. I found the whole film was kind of boring anyway. I didn't like it all that compared to Rise of the Planet of the Apes. But Jason Clarke and also the other actor in the film, whose name I don't know, he played Charlie in Fringe. Him and Jason Clarke really let me down. I thought it was a perfect example of TV actors trying to become movie stars and not really succeeding. Or even just trying to be movie actors, they don't have to be stars. So I was a bit disappointed. However, I have to say, in Terminator Genisys, he does the job. Jason Clarke delivers a fantastic John Connor. I was really impressed with his performance. Every time he was on screen, he had me glued. He was so charismatic, and he really portrayed the role perfectly. Now, I'm not going to go into spoiler territory. If you've seen the trailer, you know what happens with John Connor's character in this movie and where they're taking the movie. But if you haven't seen the trailers, it's an interesting arc, and I actually think it works really well, and it's down to not only a decent script but also down to a fantastic actor like Jason Clarke pulling it off and really making it believable. Now there's Jai Courtney. Jai Courtney plays Kyle Reese. Now this was my biggest sticking point with Terminator Genisys going into this movie. Jai Courtney is somebody who I've always been told by several people cannot act, has no ability, should not be cast in any movie, he's terrible. And I wasn't aware who Jai Courtney was. I'd heard his name bandied around loads of times about how bad he was. Then I found out he was the guy that played the son of John McClane in the Die Hard 5 movie. Die Hard 5 was not a Die Hard movie, let's put it that way. It was just an action film that happened to have Bruce Willis attempting, well, probably not even attempting, just lingering around pretending to be John Connor with Jai Courtney as his son. And so Jai Courtney never stuck in my mind, and that was the problem. He wasn't memorable. I then recently saw Insurgents, and I also went back and watched Jack Reacher for a second time after hearing good things about Jack Reacher because I didn't like it the first time round. And in that film, Jai Courtney plays a hitman. Now, both Insurgent and Jack Reacher were the two films that, for me personally, made me understand why people don't like Jai Courtney. I just felt like it wasn't that he can't act, he can definitely act. Not saying he's the greatest actor, not saying he's the worst, he just can act. But his personality is lacking. He's got no charisma on screen and therefore makes him completely forgettable. And that was my issue with Jai Courtney. So going into this film, I thought, how the hell is he going to play Kyle Reese and really have that bond with Sarah Connor and, you know, develop the love relationship that they need to develop for the future to make John Connor come alive. And I've got to be honest, this is the first film I've seen Jai Courtney in. Fair enough, it's only the fourth film I've seen him in, but I was really impressed with his performance. I felt the chemistry between him and Emilia Clarke, Sarah Connor, actually worked really well, and I actually totally bought into their relationship developing over the course of the film. I was really impressed with Jai Courtney in this film. He really held my attention every time he was on screen, just like Jason Clarke did. So overall, I was really surprised. Now, Emilia Clarke playing Sarah Connor has come under some criticism because she's very baby-faced and young, and she's supposed to be playing the badass Linda Hamilton version of Sarah Connor from Terminator 2. Technically not, because we have a whole new timeline here that we're dealing with, and I don't really think it's too fair to compare Emilia Clarke's Sarah Connor with Linda Hamilton's iconic Sarah Connor, and likewise to compare Jai Courtney and Michael Biehn as well as Kyle Reese, because I think they're two different timelines in the Terminator films, and therefore they're technically different versions of those characters. So you have to really just be open-minded and accept that this is the way it's going, this is how the characters are in this film, and try your best not to compare them to the originals. It is hard, especially when you're a hardcore fan of Terminator like myself and you love the franchise and you love the storyline and the characters, but you can do it. And I found I got really sucked in and absorbed, loved the film from beginning to end, very impressed overall with Terminator Genisys. I was really surprised how much I enjoyed this movie. There was, as I say, a fantastic relationship between Jai Courtney and Emilia Clarke. They really bonded well, great chemistry. I felt like Jason Clarke did a superb job as John Connor. Arnold was Arnold. He's just amazing. He's just so cool to watch. It's so great that Arnold went away for all those years, became governor of California, comes back and still has that on-screen charisma, and he's just awesome. And his comedic timing is bang on. He does some absolutely well-timed, brilliantly written comedy in this movie, which I was really impressed with. I was a little worried it might be a bit cheesy, but no, it's really funny. And not only myself, but other people in the audience. There were only about 20 people in the audience, including me and my dad. And we all laughed at the same time. It was all natural. It was just really well executed. So yeah, the story itself, I won't spoil it because I don't want to ruin it for anyone who hasn't seen the movie. But there is a lot of time travel involved. But I will be honest, a lot of people who I've seen review this film have said it's convoluted and it's a mess. I don't agree. I totally disagree with that. I had no trouble following the timeline, what was happening. It was all explained simple and quick and to the point. There's a moment at the beginning where Arnold spends about 2 minutes just explaining what's going to happen next. No problem at all. Quite easy to follow. And I felt like the storyline made perfect sense. And it's obviously they have always had the idea to make this a trilogy. So this is leading up to something. So, you know, this is sort of the initial resetting of the timeline and doing what they want to do with the universe. And I'm quite happy with that. I really hope that this is successful enough that the next two films are going to be made, because I really want to see what happens next. So yeah, Terminator Genisys is without doubt one of the best Terminator sequels that I have seen. And I would actually go as far as to agree with Jim Cameron that this is the legitimate third film in the franchise. As much as I love Salvation, this Terminator Genisys movie is a much better film, a lot more fun. There's a lot of great action in this film, loads of big explosions. There's a T-1000, which is really cool. There's some really nice nods as well, which I loved, to the original films and the TV show Terminator: The Sarah Connor Chronicles. Now, there's something I need to know. If anyone knows the answer, please let me know, because I have looked online and I think I'm wrong on this. But at the beginning of the film, when Kyle Reese is sent back to 1984, he lands in an alleyway and there's a tramp on the floor. Now, the tramp, I'm not 100%, but I thought it was Garrett Dillahunt, who played the Terminator in Terminator Sarah Connor Chronicles, who became John Henry in season 2. I was pretty convinced it was him, and I went online and had a look when I came home. Apparently he's not in the film, so it's not him. But when I get the Blu-ray, I'm definitely going to freeze frame and check that, because I'm pretty certain it was. Maybe I'm wrong. If you know, please let me know, because I'd like to know if it was, and if it was supposed to be a nod to the Terminator TV show. So yeah, overall, I thought the cast was better than I expected. I thought that the relationship between Sarah and Kyle worked really well. Jai Courtney and Emilia Clarke did a fantastic job. I thought Jason Clarke was absolutely superb as John Connor. I thought Arnold was really cool. I love, without spoiling it, what they've done. Obviously, if you've seen the trailer, you know where they're sort of going with this. And the interesting thing is, none of the trailers show Matt Smith, who played the Doctor in Doctor Who. Now, Matt Smith is a great actor. I'm not so keen on him as the Doctor, but I've seen him in other programs, and he's been absolutely fantastic. He is really good in this film. He doesn't have a lot of screen time, but he's acting bang on as usual. And the reason he's not in the trailer, because it would have ruined the film. It's as simple as that. It would have absolutely undone the whole film and ruined it for everybody. So I'm glad they left him out of the trailer. But what they use him for is really interesting. I'm interested to see where the next film is going to go with that, actually. And also, the title Terminator Genisys is based around an app. And it's sort of like Windows 10 in a way. It's a way of converging all of your devices into one so you're permanently connected to the internet. So that's the idea, and Genisys is the new version of Skynet, I suppose. But yes, overall, very, very impressed. Great film, lots of great action, really good solid story, great characters, brilliant actors doing a brilliant job of bringing the actors together and, you know, conveying the relationships and the emotions. And yes, I was really, really, really happy to watch this film, and I'm so glad I went and seen it and didn't just listen to all the reviews, and I actually went and formed my own opinion. So I would definitely say, guys, if you are a Terminator fan, or even if you're not and you've never seen a Terminator film, please go and see Terminator Genisys and support this film so we get the next two out, because it is a really great film. You really need to go and see this film, make your own decision. I feel that it's going to be a Marmite film. Hate to use that analogy, but I do think it's going to be a love or hate relationship. I don't think there's going to be many people down the middle. You're going to get the hardcore Terminator fans who absolutely detest what they're doing with this film and are just too loyal to Jim Cameron, which is fair enough. And you get people like me who absolutely love Terminator Genisys, and I can quite happily have love for the original Terminators and the TV show, and also equally have love for this amazing Terminator sequel. So roll on Terminator 6 and 7, I cannot wait. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please let me know down below if you have seen the film, what do you think? Please try not to leave too many spoilers in case anybody hasn't seen the movie. Please remember to like, comment, share and subscribe. I'll see you in the next video.